Hi, in this video I'm comparing the Samson Meteor Mic with the Samson C01U Pro mic. Alright, so I think the whole point of this microphone is that it's portable. As you can see, I've just opened it up and there you go. There's the microphone. Just to give you an idea of the weight of it, it's less than 270 grams. And then this is a digital microphone, which means it plugs directly into your computer or your laptop. You don't need an associated sound card for it. You see there, you plug it in, gets the power from the USB. The USB is a USB mini. It is not a micro, it is a mini. It's an older style. So if you look at it, that's the USB fitting, goes in there, right? And there is a 3.5mm audio output. This is for headphones, so you can see your headphones would go in over there. If you look at the bottom, you can see there is a mounting position, so this can be mounted on a stand. There are the threads to mount it, and then these little feet, premium quality, as you can see. They've got nice rubberizing on the sides here. And this is very shiny, looks all modern and professional, but in terms of size, I don't want to say but I just mean in terms of size, this is not very big. So if you're looking at the size, this is like 10 centimeters when it is in its folded position. Obviously the legs are going to increase the height somewhat, so you're looking at about 16 centimeters. Okay, I'm going to do the sound test with this. I'm going to compare it to a Shure SM58 microphone so you can get an idea of this quality. Now let's have a look at the other one. This is the Samson C01U Pro range. Now straight away you can feel that this is quite heavy. This is heavier than my scale can weigh, so this is just from the specifications, this weighs 1.15 kilograms, so that is substantially heavier than the Meteor mic. So if you're going to be carrying this around, keep in mind that this is going to add quite a bit of weight in your bag. It comes with a little tripod, and you can see that screws in just like that. That's obviously also the adapter for your mic stand. You can dismantle this by unscrewing the back there, and you can see how this comes apart. And then I'll put this back in. Now again, this is a digital microphone, which means you do not need a sound card. This can plug in directly into your computer, and here we've got a USB cable, but the USB cable is a little bit different. This happens to be a B type, while the Meteor mic is using the mini USB. You can see it's different. And also just looking at the gauge of the cable, the Meteor mic is more lightweight, while this cable is more heavy duty and it's thicker. Doesn't mean that the wires are better quality, it just means that it's probably got more rubberizing on it. Alright, so that plugs in the back over there. And just to compare these two cables, just to give you an idea of the length. Okay, the Meteor mic's cable is 2.1 meters or just over that, while the Pro range, the C01U, that is just over 1.4 meters. So there's a slight difference in these cables. And then the C01U also comes with this little adapter fitting, which would go over here. Now, just setting this up, it comes with these little tripod, and this is quite heavy duty. Like, it's not easy to move these legs, and I'm sure that's because this microphone weighs so much. So there's the microphone, and obviously you can shift it accordingly. Also got rubberized feet here, and just looking at these side by side in the extended position, there you go. You can see how the Meteor is about half the length of the C01U Pro. And just to give you an idea of the body of the C01U, you can see that this is 18 centimeters, and as I've already said, the Meteor is just about 10 centimeters. Alright, so in the remainder of this video, I'm now going to do these sound tests. I'll quickly set these up and I will do some recordings and also compare it to an analog microphone, which happens to be the SM58. The SM58 will be connected via a sound interface card or a audio interface. So this is what I'll be using for this. This happens to be the M Audio M-Track 2x2M. Right, just looking at the microphone itself, it's got an LED there. Now that LED is green, telling you the power's on, but it's also telling you if it goes into clipping. Clipping means that the signal being picked up here on this transducer is the sensor. If it's beyond a certain amount, that'll go red, telling you that it's actually going to give you a distorted output. You see now, if I put this here, this is too loud for the microphone. So what is happening is it's showing you that it's going into clipping. Look. And just looking at the Meteor one, the blue light's telling you the power's on. You can mute it, which puts it onto orange, which is great. So the C01U does not have the mute function, and then I can then put it back on. Then there's the volume for the earphone out. Now, in terms of the clipping, same story. You can see how both these are showing that there is a clipping here. This one is more of the traditional LED. This is a brighter one, almost like a high bright. So it's not as easy to see on the camera, but in terms of visually, it's very easy to see the red coming through there, but the camera is not bringing it through. So let me try and shout in the microphone and let's see if I can keep that on the red. Hello! Right, to capture the sound, I'm using Sony Vegas. And I have set it to the best resolution for the audio. I also have a sound pressure level meter here in the background. Obviously this should be facing me and there are rules about how you take sound, but at least you can get a reference so that you get an idea of the volume that I'm going to be speaking at, and also to compare. Right, it's also important to set the volume of the microphone. So in the microphone properties, I've set the volume to 80. So that when I test the two microphones, they'll be both set to 80 at the same volume level. This is the Samson C01U Pro microphone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, test, test. Samson C01U Pro microphone. This is the Samson Meteor microphone. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, test, test. Samson Meteor microphone. Right, so I've set the SM58 also to 80% through the sound card, the audio interface, and on the volume, the input volume, and making sure there is no input clipping on the channel of the audio interface. So this one is really just for the sound quality rather than the volume. This is the Shure SM58 microphone. Shure SM58. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shure SM58.
This is Samson C01U Pro. She sells seashells on the seashore. Mississippi, in the middle of a dry spell, Jimmy Rogers on the Victro up high. This is the Samson Meteor Mic. She sells seashells on the seashore. Mississippi, in the middle of a dry spell, Jimmy Rogers on a Victro up high. Mama's dancing with a baby on her shoulder. The sun is setting like molasses in the sky. This is the Shure SM58. She sells seashells on the seashore. Mississippi, in the middle of a dry spell, Jimmy Rogers on a Victro up high. Mama's dancing with a baby on her shoulders. The sun is setting like molasses in the sky.
Right, if you're going to be using this for voiceovers or YouTubing, or where you have an overhead microphone, keep in mind that the C01U is quite heavy. If you are going to be putting it onto a flexible spring-loaded arm, I just recommend that you just consider that because it is heavy. This also happens to be a Samson, and this is the R21S, and I find it is fine for voiceover, but why I like it, it is really light. Because if you're comparing it to the SM58, there's the SM58. The SM58 is a heavy microphone. When it falls, you can see it's actually dented there because it's hit the ground. And obviously that doesn't help with the lifespan of the microphone, although you can just buy a new head. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you are doing your voiceovers and you have a heavy microphone here, it puts quite a lot of stress on the arm. You need a better quality arm. So that's why I quite like this one, the R21S, and I have got a video on it and comparing it to the SM58. Obviously, if you're going to be singing in that, the people do like the Shure SM58 or that range of microphone. Now, if you're looking at this one, then this little adapter becomes very useful because you can just use this little adapter that came with, and you can just screw that onto your telescopic arm here. Right, both these microphones have something called a cardioid polar pattern. The polar pattern is its sensitivity zone where it's picking up the sound signals. So at the back it's least sensitive, while in the front, in almost a butterfly shape, it's going to pick up. So there's no point having this type of microphone facing the wrong way. It's got to face where you are projecting the sound wave. So that means that your head would be here towards the microphone. You could turn it a little bit because the top part is also sensitive. So you'd want it a little bit more like that. Alright, so that brings me to the end. In this video I compared three microphones. These two are the digital ones. It's a bit of an unfair test because the Shure is an analog microphone. It's very hard to normalize the volume because it had to go through a sound card, so I kind of had to guesstimate, but I try to keep everything at about 80%. Alright, so in this video you were able to see the two Samson microphones, to compare them in terms of the sensitivity and response, and that was compared to the SM58. Alright, you make up your mind. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching. Cheers.